All right, this is the next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions, continuing our Dark Side of the Ring review series. This is going to be Dark Side of the Ring, Hell in a Cell, Mick Foley. I'm your host, Mike.
Frank, man, let's go ahead and get into it. I know they kind of this kind of felt like almost a bio on Mick Foley, and I get it
Yeah.
because when you're focusing on one match for one night, it's kind of hard to fill the entire
Right,
hour in it.
right, right.
So we pretty much get a recap, pretty much on the kind of wrestler that Mick Foley is, psychopath, and what he brings to the ring. Um, and what's funny is the video, the whole thing opens up with Foley jumping off his house, the classic thing that we've seen for
Dude
years.
Love.
Yeah, on a bunch of mattresses and whatnot. They showed this quite a bit once he had um, started doing the whole Dude Love thing in
hmm
1997 and 98.
hmm
And then we got to see the other side of mankind because up until that point, only thing anybody knew was this guy was a friggin' nut job in the ring. Unless you knew his back history in WCW, I mean, wasn't a whole lot of information going around about Mick Foley back, during that time. Um, Foley quickly told a story about from college as a sophomore. He took I kind of laughed at this story. It was pretty funny. Took a swig of like red food color
hmm
and did a super fly leap off of a bed onto a stuffed animal on the floor. And when he hit the floor, he spit the red food coloring out giving it the concept of blood. And everybody in the dorm was watching. Girls that saw it said it was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Good, then Mick Foley's doing his job. He said, if I can't make the people love me, perhaps I can disgust them. That's a
Works.
That whatever, yeah, whatever gets the money into your pocket, man. However you can draw them in. They interviewed his son Mickey Foley. He looked a lot different from. I mean, the last time I saw him, there was a documentary they did on him where he was actually working for the WWE in the offices because years ago he was part of the layoffs and whatnot that he got sent packing. But he looked different from the last time I saw him on camera. Excuse me. He said he described a typical Mick Foley match as nothing more than barbed wire, fire, thumbtacks, chairs, tables, hitting concrete floors, the usual stuff.
Works well.
And of course, they interviewed his daughter Noelle Foley. Man, this girl she does not age. Again, she's another one I haven't seen on the last time I saw them it was actually remember when they did the reality show about him. I don't know if you ever
Oh,
saw
I didn't
it.
watch it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I found out that his
Okay.
son went to work for WWE, and she was doing on the episodes that she was trying to get him, to deal with the pain. He kind of did a cryogenic uh, apparatus that he had to step into, and he was freezing like crazy. That was the time I saw her on camera. Um, she uh, she said that how her dad loves the "oh my god, that's gross" reaction. That's what he's
hmm
looking for. Mick said he didn't think he had a good match unless he had trouble getting back to his hotel room. The fact that he is still vertical to this day impresses me.
No, it
It's just
is.
like
He's been
everything
through a
he's
lot.
ever done.
hmm
Yes, crazy. Um, he didn't enjoy taking the pain. He said he enjoyed selling the pain,
Right,
which
and
was
the fact that he could endure it,
the what?
the fact that he could endure it, that he could take it, that
Mhm.
he was able to keep going.
Oh yeah. And then of course they interviewed Colette Foley, which is his wife of 35 years. And of course, from the reality show, she was the one that always used to buy all these dolls and whatnot. Man, she was
hmm
crazy into dolls. That's from what I remember from her. Foley, according to her, he's a gentle, nice person. Cool. Can't have a dark side of the ring without Jim Cornette. And Cornette had me laughing on this episode on some of the shit that he was
Yeah,
saying.
the corner's pretty good. He's
Um,
entertaining.
oh, I loved it when we'll get to it in a little bit when he was talking about Hugo Savinovich when Foley was coming off the cell. I rewound it just to watch that, just to hear him say that again.
Yeah, Al Snow there too.
Al Snow looks pretty good. again, I hadn't seen. I don't know if you've caught on Netflix. They did the OVW documentary that he's right now he's running Ohio Valley Wrestling, and because they stepped away from WWE and then they had gone to Florida Championship.
That I
Well, he's
remember.
actually running the small promotion,
Oh, okay.
and there's a documentary on Netflix about it from a couple of years ago, and how he was keeping it afloat. He got a donor out of Kentucky. It's a pretty good. It's a pretty good series. And actually, they got Mick Foley, not Mick Foley. They got Al Snow to actually wrestle one of the events in that thing too at 60 years old.
Oh, wow.
Uh, Cornette said that Foley created Cactus Jack to make something different and unusual in the ring. Um, in order to get himself mentally prepared, Foley was talking about how he used to watch 12 hours of nothing but Japanese wrestling.
Japanese wrestling. Yeah.
The FMW, I believe it
Oh,
was,
Jesus.
and they did Dark Side of the Ring thing on
Yeah.
that
Yep.
too.
Mm-hmm.
And he liked the realism of it and whatnot. And when he went, he said that's what he needed to do. He needed to go to Japan
Mm-hmm.
and establish himself there. And Japan was actually looking for a foreigner to take on Terry Funk.
Very fun. Yeah.
Oh boy,
Who became his mentor.
yes. I didn't know what they enjoyed more, teaming together or beating the holy hell out of each other.
Chainsaw Charlie.
Leave it to Vince to do that shit. But man, rest in peace, Terry. I love that middle-aged and crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He retired 25 times, and it didn't. He could not. He loved the ring. The only other guy I know more crazy than Cactus. This was that way. And so Al Snow was also on there, and he said at the time WWF was G-rated, not just PG, G-rated. And I got to agree, it was pretty corny back then. He said so nothing Foley was doing would sell in WWF, and Vince never even wanted him. That he made that
clear.
I thought maybe because they talked about him a lot, it would have been I guess he didn't want to do either. They didn't want him on the show, or he didn't want to do it. But it would have been good to hear from Vince.
Oh, come on, Vince is not going to come on the show.
I know he's not
ever, man, ever.
Hey, never say never. As far as Vince McMahon goes, he not wanting Foley, he said that he didn't think he was marketable or attractive. Well, you got that right. Jim Ross, also being interviewed, convinced Vince to take Foley. Ross called it his observation of talent, that he said he saw something in him.
Right, the talent was there. Then they put him in a stupid mask.
Well, that was Vince's idea. He goes, okay, we'll bring him in, but he's wearing a mask.
And it's like I said, and Cornette said it himself too. He said anybody else, that gimmick wouldn't have worked. But Foley pulled it off.
Mm-hmm. And this was a guy they were trying to bring in mainly the Undertaker.
Yeah,
that's pretty much all it was.
Bring him in as Cactus Jack, Mankind.
Yep. And then of course you had Gerald Briscoe, which I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know he was still alive. I mean, I'm not trying to be a smartass or whatnot. I really didn't know because I knew Pat Patterson passed away a few years ago.
No, I knew Briscoe was
around. He said Vince's perception of Foley was he's a nothing, a nobody. If I take him, I'm covering his face, like I said before. So Briscoe said he created Mankind. Cornette said that this is bogus bullshit, would only work with Foley.
Yeah.
And Cornette will be as honest as they come when it comes to this. And he's right. When I first saw him, we discussed this, I think, on one of the Monday Night War episodes.
Yeah, before Netflix.
Before Netflix. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Netflix. Hey, anytime you want to add the rest of them, let us know. We'd love to get back to our Monday Night Wars. When I first saw him and I heard Mankind, I'm like, are you kidding me here? Like,
it was like I didn't get it. It ended up working because of Foley, but yeah, in the beginning it was
exactly. Foley had, with him and the Undertaker, they had a total of 7 pay-per-view matches and 10 TV matches against them, which is pretty damn impressive. Cornette said that he went to Vince, said instead of a cage, let's put a roof on it. Okay, so now Cornette's saying that he had the original idea for the Hell in a Cell. Um,
97?
yeah, I paused it there because I had to think a minute and be like, dude, have you anybody ever seen a thing called War Games? I mean, this was around
Oh yeah, that's true.
before Hell in a
Yeah,
Cell.
yeah.
However, not the ridiculous way that you heard them say that, oh, we had this attached with zip ties.
That's insane.
That now I understand why they were when they were walking on the top, and I know we're going to jump a little ahead, why
Yeah,
it looked the way it did. And
yeah,
Mick Foley's like, I'm hearing friggin' zip ties break.
yeah, yeah.
They're like, oh my God. Yeah, so Cornette, said want to put a roof on it. Again, like I said,
This was the
the guy,
second Hell in the Cell, right? Because the first one
yes,
was
because the
Shawn
first
and
ever was Undertaker and Shawn
Shawn.
Michaels
Yeah.
stole the show. So obviously,
That's
if the first,
Kane. That's kind.
that's
Who could
gotta be
forget? Yeah,
Kane.
yeah.
I loved it. And so when we find out that at King of the Ring '98 that there's going to be a Hell in a Cell match between Undertaker and Mankind, I'm like, holy shit! If the first one was as good as it
Yeah, they had
was,
they had already been feuding for 2 years at that
serious,
point.
and then all of a sudden it just kind of like popped back up at King of the Ring, like they
Oh
weren't
yeah.
really going
So
at
here
it,
we go again.
and it's like, yeah, all of a sudden
Hmm.
we got the feud again. So in any event, Funk told Foley, he was laughing. He goes, "Hey, what you should do is you should start the match on the top
Oh yeah.
and then get thrown off." And he's
He's like,
laughing,
wait,
but
that's
then
a
he's
good.
not laughing.
All right, then Foley was like, a light bulb went off, and he's like, yeah, wait a minute, that's
Oh
a good
boy,
idea.
don't ever tell shit like that to Foley because you know he's gonna
Right.
do it.
And then he told Vince, he's like, yeah, I could pull it off, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that ends the alleged. See, there was a story going on back then that, and this put it to bed that it was total BS. That Mankind had told Vince, "I've got something special for that night." Never let him know, and then when the match was over, Vince told him that was an amazing night. Don't ever do it again, type thing. That was an alleged story going around
Right.
back then. So this kind of put that to bed. Um, he pitched the idea to Taker and Vince. At first, Taker was against it because he's like, "No way in hell,
Crazy. It's a
man."
crazy spot. Of
Exactly. Vince was on board, and then
course it was.
eventually so was Taker. Well, of course, honestly didn't think that Vince was gonna be like, "All right, we could do this." Like I thought it would have had to take some
Convincing.
convincing him to do this. He was just on board from the get go.
Just all right.
Okay, what's the attitude error? I mean, so here we go. 1998, King of the Ring. Al Snow was saying that Foley realizing he had to go out and do his first ever Hell in a Cell match, which the nerves were kind of kicking in a little bit. Then they interviewed Jimmy Corderas, who was a referee back then at the time. He was backstage that night. Briscoe was actually, he said he produced that segment. And so, like he had said, Foley started the match on top. Ross and Lawler, like, what the hell is he doing? So, and he said that Taker followed him up there. And that's when the two of them were up there, they could hear the zip ties cracking. Even when they got to one part of
Yeah,
the
he also
cell that it caved in about a
yeah,
foot.
and you see it, but he also mentioned that he lied and he said that he had been up to the top of the cage before and that wasn't true. Like he lied to Vince basically and like, yeah, I already climbed up there and I already and then once he
Yeah,
got up
no,
there
yeah.
and then once he got up there he was like, oh shit.
Yeah. So, and then Cornette, the top of the cell, like he said, was attached with freaking zip ties, which that doesn't make any
That's
sense to
that's
me.
da- how that's I mean, that's so dangerous. Like,
They're lucky the whole thing didn't implode.
right.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Um, Foley's wife telling their two young kids, "Oh, it's fake," to sue them. While she's freaking out watching this thing. Um, Now when they get to the segment where Taker throws him off, when he fell off, he turned himself in a way that he wouldn't kill himself. Now, what Cornette had said, he goes, "Yeah, you watch it back and you see Hugo Saminovich jumping out the way." He goes, "Because he doesn't want Foley's fat ass killing him
Right, yeah. 300-pound guy coming at it. I don't know who knows
at
how
20 miles an
fast.
hour almost,
That's
looked
an
like."
insane spot. And for him to land and because what if he would have missed? He could have missed the
They mentioned that. I think his wife said, "What?" Oh, no, his daughter said, "What if he
he
landed
missed
in
the
the
table.
crowd?
Right, yeah, he
What
could have missed
if
the table.
he landed on the concrete?"
Yeah.
Like Taker had to do these guys had to do this. This was a pretty much a one and done. Like you have to get
Yeah.
this right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
and he pulled it off, landing dead center on the table.
Yeah, by
And
a miracle. Because
and
when
Ross is like,
Sean
"Oh, he's dead."
because when yeah, I know everyone thought he was dead. Because when Sean did it, Sean was on the side of the cage. He wasn't
Yeah,
on top.
he was holding on, and then
And he just kind of threw
he
himself
kind of
onto the
swung
table.
himself.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right, right.
Whereas Foley's just going, "Watch what I can do."
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. It's an insane spot, man. It's an insane spot.
So, and then of course they interviewed Dr. Francois Zero
Yeah, I didn't know that.
in Mortal
I
Kombat.
didn't I,
I had no clue
yeah.
that this man was Sub Zero in the first Mortal Kombat, fighting the guy that's getting ready and doing all that
Mhm.
stuff, and
And he was a doctor
that
too. It's crazy.
exactly that's crazy. Um, at that point, at just he got lucky because at this point on that fall he dislocated his shoulder.
Yeah.
Just the fact that that's all you came away with at this
Hmm.
point, and you can actually get up, amazed the crap out of me.
Throw the
Now to get
towel. Throw the goddamn
throw the
towel.
damn towel. Imagine if they had that, towel bearers for this
Yeah.
match. Now to get the gurney to Foley, they had to raise the Hell in a Cell. Which, by the way, do you
And
guys
Undertaker
still
was still on
realize
top of it.
Undertaker's still up
Still on top
there?
of it. Undertaker must have been freaking out.
Yeah, because he's looking up and he's like,
Yeah.
What are we? What the hell?" Now Briscoe thought that the match at this point was over. Everybody pretty much.
Everybody thought
I
it was
thought
over.
it was
Yeah.
over. Ruled a no contest. Foley gets off the gurney, goes back to the ring, goes back up
It was
top.
dramatic the way that he got up too, and the crowd went crazy. He's got that look in his eyes.
Taker's even looking at him like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Um, so now Taker choke slams Foley through the top of the cell.
Right. And the thing was, they said that it wasn't supposed to happen that way. I think he was supposed to choke slam him and then kind of like push him,
Yes,
and then he was gonna fall. It would eventually
go through
give
with
way.
ease.
Right, with ease. He wasn't supposed to fly through the
Zip ties, baby, zip ties.
insane. And then the chair hit him. The chair hit him right in the face.
God. At this
Yeah.
point, now Ross is like, all right, now he's dead.
They're freaking out. His family's freaking out, and
I got to admit, I'm watching this at home. I'm jumping up and down like a little schoolboy here. I'm just I have never seen anything like this in the WWE at up to this
yeah.
point, and I'm looking at like, geez, what are we doing here? And so now Foley's wife is trying to get a hold of the company.
Right.
Now ain't nobody picking up the phone.
Yeah.
They're all watching the monitors if they're not out there.
Foley got knocked out cold. He said for the first time.
42 seconds. He
He
didn't
said he'd never
know.
been knocked out before. He said that he's blanked out for like a couple seconds, but not like that.
And to cover that, he told Funk
Or
go
Funk took it upon him.
off.
Did he tell Funk? I think he took it upon himself. He called the audible. No, I
Yeah,
don't think he
I
told
know
Funk.
her.
Yeah, I don't think he told Funk.
He got
Funk,
choke slammed right out of his shoes.
he told Taker, hit me. Yeah, hit me. Yeah,
I mean,
that was a good spot.
just to take the
To buy
spotlight
himself
off of
some
Foley
time.
for a minute,
Yeah,
focus on Taker beating the hell out of Funk because you're technically getting involved in my
yeah. The
match kind of
doctor's
thing.
like, oh, this is not good.
No, it is not. Um, now, at this point, when they showed the segment with the tooth through his nose,
Oh yeah, yeah.
funny little story how that tooth traveled there. It went down his throat,
That
but
sounds insane. And
the
then he was
way he was
breathing.
breathing,
It went up and
it went through his nasal passage, and then he had a hole that he was like sticking his tongue through, and he kind of like got the tooth to go up, and he's
oh.
smiling while he's doing it. Porch lights on, nobody's home. That's
He
how
said,
Taker
yeah,
put
he
it.
said when he woke up, he saw the shoes. That's what he saw, and he was like, "Oh, I'm
Yeah,
still in the match." And he got up and he
I
continued to
still have a
fight.
pulse.
They should have stopped that match, though. To be honest with you, like
By
it's
this point, yes.
yeah, it's too
But
much.
he said, no, I have to introduce the
Mhm.
thumbtacks.
And then he forgets about it later on.
Yeah, he said that he had no recollection of it. And when I get to the
He had
total list
asked
of everything that's wrong with him, he said, I don't think they tested me for the concussion.
well,
Dude,
back then. This was the night. Yeah, this was like late
I think
'90s.
they did. I just don't think he remembered.
I don't know, man. Back then, they let these guys. I don't know.
By this in this era right now, this match doesn't
Oh
finish.
yeah, yeah.
It
It
doesn't
doesn't
even
get that
get
far.
past.
It doesn't
It
get
doesn't
that
get
far.
past him falling off.
Right, 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 right.
And I'm sure as hell no, that shit ain't zip tied no more. Um, what was I going to say now? Lost my spot. Okay, so Foley goes through also the thumbtacks. Finally, the match comes to an end. Thank God. Now, he refused the gurney to go out on his own, which he got a standing ovation for. Um, now, Colette always said that shortly after his matches were over, she would get a phone call. She wasn't getting one right now, so now she's getting a little nervous, like, what's wrong with my husband? Finally, she gets one. Uh, the kids thought that their dad was dead. I mean, this has got to be traumatizing to little kids. And I'll get to something else in a minute that they had brought up as well in this. His total injuries for this one night: 15 stitches under his lip. He lost two teeth. He actually showed everybody. Bruised kidney for that he said went on for weeks. His jaw was dislocated and his shoulder as well dislocated, on top of the major concussion that he came away with. That's when he said, "I don't remember them to testing me for that, but even if they did or didn't, he wouldn't remember."
Yeah.
Now, you think this is where he would learn his lesson? No, we're going to play a game of can we top this? 7 months later, were something even worse and more grueling, the I Quit match at the Royal Rumble with The Rock. And now only at this time, his family's at ringside.
Ringside, yeah.
Because,
The guy told The Rock.
besides, go ahead.
He said that he told The Rock, "Oh, lay it into me," like so. It was kind of like he was at fault too. I blame The Rock though. Like watching his
Supposed to be
documentary
three
now,
chair shots. It turned out to be 11.
11, and he hit him too hard, and it's like, come on, man. Like I understand, like
I know he said lay it into him, but I mean, you're
apparently he
beating
was
him up like
upset
he
for
just
him.
murdered your parents.
Yeah, apparently he was upset. I remember
Rock was?
afterwards. No,
Or Foley? Oh, Foley?
Foley was
I
upset.
don't blame him.
It's just too
And
much.
and we've seen a lot of this on the documentary Beyond the Mat.
Yeah.
Besides watching this live,
Mm.
I mean that what he went through. I don't know if you could compare the two, which one was worse. Tried not going through neither,
Right.
because I mean he's lucky he walked away from one.
Well, if this guy said he got brain damage from it.
He's
What
suffering from CTE, and he doesn't
Cornette had
know.
mentioned, he forgets where where like he'll drive somewhere, I guess, and forget how to get home or something.
Yeah, he also said that he could sit home worrying about what's going to come, or he could enjoy every day that he can get out of the bed, remember things,
Right.
because now he's doing those one man shows like Taker does. Eventually, it's not going to be good for Foley, and I know from that reality show he did, the pain that he is in every day he gets
Yeah.
up is just.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's functioning.
It's
You
it's
got to
tough.
wonder, was it worth it? He'll tell you yes. I don't understand how. But Foley always said after the Rumble, and he says it after every match, I've always got one match left of me. Well, then they show he takes the beating from Evolution, the Extreme match with Orton, the beatdown at WrestleMania, the SummerSlam match with Flair, the WrestleMania 22 match with Edge going through the burning table. I mean, he didn't know his limits at the end. He always said, "I've got one match left in me." Wow. I mean, and of course, Noelle says she has no memory of her daddy wrestling. Thank God
Right. She
the kids
kind of
didn't
blanked it
do
out.
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was just traumatic for her.
Um, and of course, when Mick Foley and Noelle went to the WWE warehouse, they saw the Hell in a Cell um, apparatus from that night, and she said that when he started tearing when he touched it. So maybe
Yeah,
some
jeez.
memories came back or
It
whatever.
was kind of sad, man. When he says, oh, he felt like what did he say? He said something like he felt like he did accomplish something, but then sometimes he feels like he didn't accomplish anything. And he
Exactly.
said he almost hates that match sometimes because that's all people remember him for. And I'm like, that's not true. Like I feel bad that he feels that way because,
Unfortunately, a lot of people are that way. Like the
but
first
that's
thing
only
that
if you're
if
a
they're popping
cat.
it,
But
if they
that's
pop in his head, that's the first thing they
But
mention.
to me, maybe if you're a casual wrestling fan, maybe that's what you think of. But like, it's part of what I think of, but it's not the only thing I think of. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
there's many other. The
there's a
Boiler
lot
Room
of more
match
moments.
comes in.
Yeah, when he won the
The
title from The Rock,
the
the
huge ovation he got on Raw.
dude, like the
The
Rock and Sock connection,
electrocution, the Abdullah Butcher in
Rock and Sock
WCW,
connection.
Rock and Sock.
This is your life. Remember when he did the This is your life with The Rock, something like that.
The amnesia bit that he did as Cactus
Yeah,
in
Lost in Cleveland.
WCW.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I remember all of that.
exactly.
So I don't,
There's a
I feel bad that he feels that way, but I get it, but then he said he kind of made peace with it when he spoke to Undertaker because Undertaker told him that this is gonna outlive us. Like this moment is gonna be remembered after we're gone.
Well, don't worry, Mick. True wrestling fans, such as our site,
Yeah,
we remember a lot
yeah, of
more than just
course.
King of the
Yeah,
Ring
yeah,
'98.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you put it all out there. You didn't have to, but you felt that you needed to leave that legacy to his
Right,
fans
right.
to be remembered.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our episode. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. See you guys soon.